All right, so today's growth group. I'm super excited. We have a full dedicated. We have a full, we have 56 minutes to kind of go through all this stuff, and we had a massive update today in the GrowthDay app. It's incredibly exciting because the couple things that I'm going to announce today, you might have not noticed yet inside the app. So you're going to learn about that. You're the first to learn about it because you're in this growth group. So that's number one. The number two things we're going to talk about is a theme, because every week we've been bringing a theme. And this week's theme is design impact. And design impact's near and dear to my heart. Being in the head of product and design here at GrowthDay, I love optimization. I love improving things, but I also love just the term design impact. But this can also be, even if you're not a designer, even if you're not an engineer or a product manager, you can still have design impact with how you go about your days, how you go about the projects you work on, and also the things that you decide to take on. So I'll share a little bit about that today, and it's going to be super helpful. All right, cool. So without further ado, let's start with the new updates. And just on Thursdays we do our updates. It's every 2 weeks we have a new release. And today's big announcement is, I'm gonna actually share my screen so you can see this. And if you want to follow along, I want to encourage you to do that. And that will be helpful for you. Here, I'm just gonna share my exact screen, and I'm gonna head over into the Learn section. All right. And so we're inside the Learn section of the app. Now, the first thing that I want to bring to your attention is, if you are a starter membership or a pro membership or an all access membership, you're going to have the ability to host your own growth groups. So before, over the last, since we released growth groups, you were allowed to host growth groups if you had a hosting plan. You are also able to host growth groups if you had a pro or all access membership. But now, this release, we are super excited to announce that you can now host, and you get a free 5 growth groups for the first year if you're a starter member. So if you're a starter member, you signed up in since the beginning of time, then we're going to give you 5 free growth groups. To access those growth groups, you just have to come over into the Learn section, which is 6 on your keyboard, and then you would see this big modal or component here that says want to host your own growth group, and you can just click anywhere on this container. You'll also see a blue button that says schedule a group. Now, if you've already used all your growth groups after you go and use the 5, or as a starter member, then you'll be asked to upgrade to our hosting plan for growth groups, because we do charge for a hosting plan. But I think you're going to also appreciate what that new offer that we have there, because that enables you to do our second major update, which allows you to do one-to-one coaching inside of the app. So if you wanted to have a growth group with somebody that you're working with, maybe it's one of your growth partners, maybe it's one of your teammates, and you want to be able to have a growth moment together, you can now do that inside of the app, which is incredible. It's a huge update, massive update. So to do that, you just go and click on one of the blue buttons, either the schedule the group, and then you would scroll down and you would see, now obviously, like, I have quite a bit of growth groups just because I'm hosting and I'm essentially a growth group admin. But you'll see this component, and you'll see your 5 or you'll see your 10. Now, I didn't tell you yet about pro members and all access members. They get 10 free, a part of their plan for the first year. So those 10 free that you get, you'll see a number 10 here, and you'll just be able to use those for the first year of your membership. So you can try out growth groups, so you can test it out. You can host your own sessions. You can do that. So I think it's a huge announcement, and I just wanted you all to be the first to hear it. It's going to come over into the chat. Okay, cool. So any questions about that, just please feel free to put it in the chat. All right, so that was the first big one, right? The second, pro and all access and starter members now have free growth groups. The other major thing that we introduced into the tool is a lot of performance enhancements around growth groups. So when you're in a growth groups, you'll start to see a lot more speedy performance for how you move in between different things, how the app responds. We've just been every week working on performance. We're building really fast and we're scaling really fast. So those are also some really important things to just be mindful of and be aware of. So with that, we have those things that have been updated. We also have a couple other things for our enterprise customers, which you don't necessarily need to know about that, but we have a lot of good things that are just coming. And I just want to see if there's any questions about growth groups before I kind of kick off the rest of the training today. Any questions about growth groups? Have you been kind of curious about hosting your own growth groups or interested in doing it? Just as a reminder, growth groups we have 10 agenda templates that you can use. So if you're not really sure what to talk about, then you can go back over into here. I'll reshare my screen really quick. Come back in. You can come to the Learn section. And when you go to schedule that group, you'll see templates over here on the right. And I'm just going to Command plus this 2 times so it's a little bit bigger. And those templates are examples of things that you can talk about with your friends, your family, your teammates. And you can just come in there, hit use the leadership development, and it just puts right in there in the agenda. And then you can just go ahead and set it up. And there you have it. Super easy, super straightforward. And now you have those things. Another thing to note is we have some upcoming growth groups that just got released yesterday. So this is Brennan's going to be going live and talking about the secrets of time management. This session is on actually next Wednesday, or not next Wednesday, but the following Wednesday. And this is going to be really fun too, because in this sort of session, we're going to get to hear from all the other coaches around this as well. And you can start seeing, and they're already starting to come up, and you can view all of those upcoming workshops. So go in there and RSVP to those. If you're not a pro striver, then I'd encourage you to upgrade so that you can actually get in here and see these on a weekly basis. You can also upgrade to all access to unlock our courses, which we do have new courses hitting the platform every single month. And some of our latest courses, which I'm really fond of, are some of these master classes. So we released the Mindset and Resilience Masterclass. We still have the Relationships Masterclass, the Friendship Masterclass, the Reinventing Your Life Masterclass, and the Productivity and Confidence. So this library is starting to really grow, and every month we'll have a new masterclass for you, and we're building that up. The other really, it's really sad, but it's really, really sad news is with the passing of our dear friend, Dave Hollis. We have unlocked all of his content from his first year at GrowthDay. So if you go over to the coaching section in tabs, you can click Dave Hollis, and you can see all of his previous lessons and trainings. So really a magical way to go back here and learn from Dave in the settings. You can also go to the view all, and you can also sort by Dave there and see all of his past content. This has all been unlocked. So any depending on your account, you can also come in here and get this. Cool. Oh, shoot. Let me see. I'm so sorry. It's been so literally, let's see how long it was muted for. I don't remember muting my mic. Yeah, sorry about that. It must have done that when I was switching back. So you can hear me now. So what I was saying, and you're probably trying to read my lips, was that we unlocked Dave's contents for you over here in the Learn section. So you can go to past replays and head over to Dave. And it's so sad, but it's also like we're so grateful that Dave was able to produce content for us and support us while when we first launched GrowthDay. So we've unlocked all of these in memory of Dave. And I just want to encourage you to go check them out and share them with your friends. And Yeah, we'll do that. I'm so sorry about the content, the volume, guys. We'll keep going. We'll keep going. Okay. All right. Yep. I'm just reading through all the messages of why I didn't have my sound. Oh, yes. So when I say unlocked, what I mean by that is like even a starter member or a member that doesn't have a subscription can actually watch these. These are unlocked for free. So pro members have access to all of the past replays, and pro members also have access to the weekly live workshops on Wednesday. But if you're an all access member, then you have access to all the courses and all the past replays and all the master classes that come out every single month. So what I was saying was too that these master classes, we have a schedule now where we're releasing these every month, and we'll have new ones coming for you so you can tap into the perspective from our multiple coaches. Almost all, yeah. So we do retire our past replays. So the current structure is that they, like, for the last 3 months, I mean that's what it should be, but we are slowly retiring the past replays in the library. So they're not there forever. Typically it's the last 3 months is what we're keeping in the system. So I just want to give you that quick little update. Thank you, Jen, for sharing that. All right, cool. So we talked about the courses. We got Dave's content out there. We talked about growth groups and getting access now. If you're a starter member, if you're a pro member and all access, you now have the ability to host. If you go through the hosting and you end up using your free growth groups, then we want to encourage you to actually sign up for the hosting plan. It's like an add-on, and it's $149 a year to have that, to unlock that hosting plan. And the cool thing about this is you get 120 growth groups for the entire year. So it's not like 10, it's not 20. You got 120 growth groups for the entire year, which is pretty cool. So let me know if you have any questions about that, and we'll keep this show going. All right. Cool. All right. So again, in these growth group sessions, I've been teaching about last week we were talking about design productivity, and this week I want to surface around like design impact and thinking about, the impact that we create in our life, the impact that we create with how we design and architect our days, from how we journal, from how we life score, from how we plan and challenge ourselves, and also how we learn, what is exactly what on the page that I'm on right now. Marlene had a question around, is it possible to give somebody a growth group hosting? You can't right now gift growth group hosting, but what you could do is you could go to your settings and you could go to give a gift, and you could gift them starter, pro, or all access, and they could get the 5 free and the 10 free, but then they would have to pay for the additional, let me come to give a gift, they would have to pay for the additional hosting. Yeah, cool. And Cheryl, did you still have a question, or are you just still raising your hand? Just wanted to make sure. Just if you have a question, you can put it in the chat. Yeah, thanks, Marlene, for the great question. Okay, cool. All right, let's start the homepage, and then I'm going to work my way through this mindset of design impact and just help you. And if you have any questions along the way, just please feel free to put it down in the chat. So when I think about design impact, I want to layer in 3 different things. And these 3 different things, I think, no matter your discipline, no matter your role, no matter your responsibilities, 3 things are going to be really impactful for you as you step in to Growth Day, or as you step into, whatever it is that you're trying to achieve this year. The 3 things are, like, we really got to understand, like, the terminology of benchmarking. If you've ever heard of benchmarking, it's this ability to put a stake in the sand and really understand, like, where are you currently at in something? Like, where are you, like, how are you measuring where you're currently at? Whether it's, we do this actually with life scores. It's built into the life score mindset. But when you come in and you think about, what kind of impact do I want to have? And how do I design and architect that? Well, the first thing you got to have is some benchmarks, whether it's like the examples of life scores where you come in and you're like, okay, cool. I know that when I do my daily life score, I'm going to score across these 10 these 10 core habits. I'm going to get recommendations at the end, but I at least have an anchor and a benchmark for where I'm currently at. So I know that over the my whole entire month or my entire year, I have an ability to see my trend lines over throughout the entire year. For sleep, for nutrition, for productivity. Benchmarks help you identify where you're currently at, so like how you're improving over the long term. And I think this relates to so many different things even outside of the life score system. It relates to, what's your project success look like? What was success this week, this month, this year on a specific project that you're dedicated and your role and responsibility was for? How did you measure success in that moment? Did you write it down? And did you know, like, okay, this is important, but what could be a better version of this? What could be the next level of this? And, what is that going to look like? Benchmarks help you do that. The same thing happens for benchmarks when you're thinking about like quality of something. You have a quality bar that you're trying to define and trying to understand. Like even for yourself, like how you want to show up throughout the days. You might have like, well, I want to feel energized. I want to interact with people in a very patient and supportive way. Success for me looks like making sure that I'm prepared and consistent with my actions. So like what it's going to look like, but you also have defined it. So you have like a stake in the ground, like I was saying, and it's like, this is where I'm at. This is so important part of design impact and architecting the impact that you have in your own life and the impact that you have in other people's lives. So design impact, number one, most important thing is benchmarking. The second thing that is really important when it comes to design impact is having a sense of continuous learning. So when I say continuous learning, I've talked about this over the last the last 8 weeks around building your growth loop. And Brendan also posted inside the community where he's talking about the growth loop. Here, I'll go and check that out really quick because I think he might have pinned it, and I can actually search for it. So the growth loop is an incredible, really important stage for you to know. Here you go. Growth loop. Here, I'll just go to the first one. Okay, yeah, here it is. So Brendan was talking about his growth loop and, gaining awareness, achieving your goals, measuring progress, and staying motivated. Now, when we talk about measuring progress, that's exactly what I was referring to with benchmarking. You have to measure your progress, score yourself, and be able to improve those results over the long term. But that continuous learning aspect of design impact is thinking about how you architect your learning path and your development plan in a way that allows you to build on your momentum on a weekly basis. So the things that you put inside your journal, the things that you put inside your plan, like the big giant things that you want to work towards and focus on, how are you building a growth loop around those things so you can continuously learn in those specific areas? But the big challenge is if you don't have clarity on what it is you want to develop, you don't have clarity around the things you want to improve, you don't have clarity around how you're going to actually show up and do it, then you can find yourself in this stagnated feeling where you're not actually like moving the needle and you're not actually doing the things that you need to be doing. So I want to encourage you to think about like, okay, well, for me to continuously learn, what is my growth loop going to look like? Now, this shows an example of, the tools and the connections and Brendan's awareness of this. What I want to do in here, I'm going to actually put this, let me see if I can, I'll share this link for you just so you can have it. So that's the community post that Brendan had on Growth Loop. Now I'm going to share really quick gradual growth loop. Let's see here. Here, what I'll do is I'll search my name, and then I'll come to the page, go to my post, and then I'm going to scroll down to where I was talking about growth loops. Coming down. There we go. All right, so inside this video, boop, we're going to pause it, come over. I think I even might have, oh, sorry. I was going to see if the image actually showed up. Here, let me come back in. Super strategic. Because we need to practice the things we do. We need growth groups. Remember that. So I'd really encourage checking out this as well. Just as a reminder to support you in building your own growth loop. Let me get this out of the way. I want to show this. Yeah, here we go. Cool. So I know it might be kind of small, but when you think about your growth loop and your continuously learning opportunities, you know, when you are watching, reading, learning things, and you are practicing, playing, and participating in events like we're doing right now with the growth group, the continuous learning, the way to make this like a habit is to insert this into a weekly rhythm that you have where every week you're going to learn, or even every day you're going to learn about a micro event that you need to improve on. So if it's like, oh, I want to, for my wellness, I want to get more educated about the types of food I can make throughout the day, or for my execution, I want to get better at this skill that is going to help me become a better at craftsmanship in my role. Or if it's a specific thing that you want to do for planning, okay, you might watch and learn and read about planning techniques. All of those things can fit inside of this growth loop. That way you can build those rituals, routines, and habits. Just want to encourage you to take initiative and figure out what it is that you're actually going to improve on. And that was number 2, right? So we talked about benchmarking. We talked about continuous learning. The third thing that I think is incredibly important is identifying and understanding your design and life awareness. Now, this is a massive topic, or a massive subject. Where, what is design awareness? Well, design awareness is knowing the systems around you and what they need in order to function better. So a system around you could be like, okay, well, I've inside of GrowthDay, I have a system of growth. I have my plans. I have the things I'm learning. I'm journaling about things, but I don't necessarily maybe have my I don't have a clear idea of what are the systems that I step into every day, a part of my role and responsibilities. I haven't maybe looked at it, or maybe haven't mapped it out. So for any of your roles and disciplines of what you do, you could start by mapping out the things that you do every day, every week, and every month for your specific role today. If you're retired, this could be, what do you like to do every day, every week, and every month, you know, as you're retired and you're moving towards just enjoying the things that you know, bringing joy into the things that you do every day. But think about it. What are those things? And you need to have design awareness about the things that you have to do on a daily, weekly, monthly basis. And I tend to like go into systems thinking around this because I work in product, I work in design, and I'm constantly thinking about what are all the systems to make a beautiful design? What are all the systems to make a beautiful company? What are all the systems to give feedback candidly and honestly to your teams and your friends? And what are all the systems that make those things work? I want you to take some stock in learning about your design systems around you and start just building a little bit more awareness about those things. Okay, this is going to help you have a little bit more impact, because once you start learning some of the issues and some of the problems that you currently have, then you can design possible solutions and iterate towards improving those things. Hope that makes sense. The thing on the other side of design and life awareness is life awareness. And I think GrowthDay is the perfect tool for building life awareness, because you know you have a very sophisticated journal that's going to allow you to get super intentional with your morning, your evening, growth prompts if you need them, weekly reviews, and monthly reviews. These things allow you to take your intention and conscious awareness to another level, because you're writing and reflecting and getting these things out on paper or out on digital paper, instead of just letting it soak in your mind and you really never can come back to it because you're always thinking about the next thing that somebody's asking you to do, versus taking a moment in time to reflect and to think about, what did I learn? How did I grow? Was I proactive? Was I an initiator? Was I a believer? Was I a dreamer? And did I have productivity, clarity, and courage in the things that I was doing? I think the journal is a great place to anchor yourself in that. Life scores is another way to understand life awareness. And I think the thing that is so critical here in your monthly life scores, if I go to monthly, these top 10 questions around health, mental awareness, partner love, family, friends, learning, finances, this is a whole life assessment. And have life awareness around how you've been performing over the past year. You can start to see like how am I progressing, from my mission, boom, boom, boom. And then what does that look like? I'm a very mission oriented person, I like really intentionally go through these every single month. So my scores are a little bit higher because I've been really working on this for years. And I think like just having that intention to kind of work through those things and go through those things is going to serve you in the long run. So those three things, if I come back to you, here I'm going to stop sharing real quick, come back to you, are pivotal parts that the product actually is serving you, and the product's actually prepared to help you with those things, right? So we had, let me see, we had benchmarking, we had continuous learning, and we had design and product, or design and life awareness. So you're building on these things because these things are going to help you actually know how to get to that design impact. So what does the impact look like? What could the impact look like? Well, the impact could look like, let's see here. You want to deliver a brand new experience. And again, I'm a product and design, like this is where my head's at. And I'm thinking about a new product experience or something that you could experience inside the GrowthDay app. I'm really thinking about that really carefully and thinking about how it's going to impact, your life, how it's going to make your experience a little bit better. And when that actually improves your life or improves your satisfaction of using this product, then that's creating design impacts because it's something that more people will use. They get more value at it, and then it's just an overall great experience. But we have to measure that, right? We have a starter membership, we have a pro membership, and we have an all access membership. We think that having an all access membership is the cream of the crop. Like, it is really great to have all access to all the information, all the knowledge, and it's up to you to just show up and do the work, like integrate it into your growth loop. And we know that, for people that can't afford a all access plan, that a starter plan, $50 a month, can get you into the product to be able to start learning the tools, get access to the high performance habit builder course, and then start building the disciplines and the practices and the rituals and the routines to be able to help you, get into the momentum and movement that you really want to get into. Love that stuff. CW, could you clarify your question around how to watch last week? Are you talking about last week of my session or last week of... Okay, great. So to watch the last replay of me, you can go into the community, and I post my replays every single week. So you can scroll, you can search for my name, Drew Bridewell, in the post, and then you can see all my past posts inside of the community, and you can just watch all those things. I'm creating them as like kind of a playlist on YouTube, and then because the storage inside of the community can't store all of them, so I'm just putting them in there. But also you can just DM me. You can DM me on social, you can DM me in the community, you can DM me on LinkedIn, and I'll make sure I get you the link to the trainings and the programs and courses there. Cool, no problem. Also, so those three things, I'm going to paste in some of my notes just so you have it and you can end up copying and pasting it as well. So again, design impact, what I like to think about it is we're trying to strive and build to positive outcomes and experiences. The positive outcomes and experiences is important because like when you start going in and architecting your growth systems here at GrowthDay, you get the opportunity to design how it is that you're going to spend your days. You get to choose how you're going to benchmark and what success looks like for you. Like if success is a 70% on a life score, that's totally fine. It's totally good. Like you get to be the decision maker of how you get to get the most out of this product and this experience. But the thing is, it is putting in the work. It is doing the homework. It is doing the work that you get from the daily fire every day, doing the journal work, doing the planning work. So you have momentum. And then you can use growth groups for that social learning and that support. You can also use the community for that social learning and support when you're feeling a little down, or you're feeling a little like you've maybe lost the steam, lost momentum. You can come back in and get a little bit of that support. The other thing, now the goal, so if we're trying to strive and build positive outcomes and experiences, which is incredible part of like design impact, like where we're trying to go to, the goal of this is to measure our design outcomes so we can scale, learn, and grow. This also relates completely to people. Like we want to measure how we're doing so that we can scale and expand our mind, expand our learnings, expand our knowledge. We want to be able to learn continuously about the things that are most important to us and the things that help us become better people. And then we need to build in those mechanisms to practice those things, because we just don't like know it and then it's just there. We have to practice these things. We have to do them over and over and over until it becomes a part of our muscle memory, or it becomes of our daily habit. And then from that, we get to grow. Like that's the beautiful part. And you're all growing for being here. If you've been a part of the GrowthDay app, you'll start to see the growth that you can have just by participating and experiencing this with all of us. We talked about benchmarks, which is like measuring your progress and your advancements, thinking about like just how do you benchmark. If you're interested in a book around benchmarking and understanding this, there's a product related book that is very helpful if you're into project management, into product design, or any of those other things. Like it's called Measure What Matters. John Doerr wrote this book. It talks a lot about the like measuring company OKRs and measuring the things that actually move the needle for the company, and not measuring things that don't really move the needle. And yeah, if you're into technology and building services, this is a really good book that you could consider. The second thing that we had talked about was continuous learning. So this is like, you're going to be learning all year long. You're going to be learning GrowthDay. You're going to be learning outside of GrowthDay, but taking in the things that you learn and integrating those insights. So, and leveraging them when you social learn, when you're trying to skill up, and when you're just trying to practice. So continuous learning is just a fun thing. Like we get to learn all these new things. This past week, right, we were kind of going through this entire month to learn about this incredible topic of bringing out the best in others. So you get to go back through, if you're in the past replays, and see 8 other perspectives from our coaches about how to bring out the best in other people. You'll hear different, and Trent just went live this past week, and he was just talking about like his relationship with, you know, his kids, and like just going through and really understanding like how to bring out the best. And it's a really awesome thing. Anthony Trucks did the same thing. He was talking about how to do that for him. And I think it's so helpful to hear other perspectives for this, because I mean we all like approach these things a little differently. And then next month is all about time management, right? One of the most challenging things to do with time management. As we grow, as we evolve, we get a lot more responsibilities, and we need to adjust our time and schedules. Oh, thanks. Yeah, awesome. All right, cool. So I'm going to keep going here. And then the third thing that we talked about today was this design and life awareness, like building this into your discipline, where you have a way to listen, you have a way to observe, you have a way to reflect and evaluate what's going on. Benchmarks with life scores is a great way to evaluate how you're progressing. But you know what? You could do life scores all day long, but if you're not pairing a life score with a journal and a plan, then you're not taking that reflection and putting it into action. That's why the growth loop is so important. You know, when we go to reflection, we go to planning, or we go to journaling, and then we go to learning and growing and practicing, and then we're back to like another training mechanism. But we got to be able to have not just reflection, but we need to be able to pair it with planning and action and learning. I'll say that one more time because I know it's quite a bit. So we have the reflection, then we have to plan. What are we going to do with that reflection? We have to take that plan, maybe turn it into an action, and then we might need more training to be able to support it. Or you might go from a reflection to practicing something because you know you need to work on it, and then you turn that into a plan, and then you turn that into an action. So you can see how all these things are connected in like 2 to 3 or 4 hits, And yeah, I call them hits because I'm just like, I'm training, boom, planning, boom, reflecting, boom. And I'm actually hitting imaginary baseball right now. So like hitting. And I'm just thinking about how we connect those things. And that's what we're trying to do inside the app. And it's just got to become second nature to know like, oh, I have a reflection. Am I either going to plan something? I'm gonna plan something. I'm going to train on something, or I'm going to take action. Which three of those things are you going to choose? But not doing two or three or four of this consecutive things, it's just going to slow you down because you're just going to reflect for all week. But you don't want to be an analysis paralysis where you're just like thinking about things. You want to be able to think and do, reflect, evaluate, and act. Let's go. All right. So another thing, like I know this is design and this might be related, but here's some things that like I typically think about as I'm coaching and teaching like other designers and product makers. And this might relate to you, and I think it's also helpful to think about this in the vein of Growth Day. When you think about like leading net new things, now we have to lead net new projects all the time. Like we have like 10 or so every quarter. We have like 10 things that we need to do. And that list will probably go up the more we scale our company and the bigger we get. But we have to lead net new things. And in your role or in your position or in your where you're currently at in your life, thinking about how do you lead new things? And if you can lead new things by creating more clarity, by creating more awareness, by creating more fun and excitement and joy during those new things that you do, that can lead to design impact. But you have to design the architecture or the system that's going to allow for a successful event. And that's why like benchmarking is important. That's why, we were talking last week about design productivity, and the week before that we were talking about design clarity, and the week before that we were talking about design energy. And thinking about energy, productivity, clarity, which are also tied to the high performance habits, if you've read Brennan's High Performance Habits book. So taking in, and if you're trying to start something new, I want to encourage you to go back and check out that book, or go in and check out the course High Performance Habits Builder. It's a part of all of our plans from starter and up. You could go back in and recalibrate with productivity, recalibrate with courage, recalibrate with influence, recalibrate with necessity. Go through those categories and think about, how am I going to lead these new experiences this year? And then how can I architect a great path ahead so that I can lead net new things successfully? The second one I had on there was building remote teams, because even if you are retired, even if you don't have like a team that you're working on, you still have to facilitate remote experiences like we're doing on this growth group. But you also have to be able to do that with, you work on something and you're in different places with your family, teams, and loved ones. You still got to work on things together. And to be able to do those things together, you have to be aware of like, what does it take to build remote teams? You have to build excellent rituals, routines, and habits that the team that you model, that the team can follow. So I like talking about this one because, we have so much potential as humans, as human beings, to facilitate really great moments and experiences. And we just need to be present and think about like what's going to make that experience really great. What's going to make that experience special. And, knowing those ingredients and stepping into that so we can do it successfully is a really impactful thing, especially if you're in the tech industry or creative industry. You have to work with a lot of people. Another one I have here is optimizing approaches for business and design impact. So when you're optimizing things from like a life score, like this evaluate stage, and you're coming in and you're evaluating these things, how might we, as the next most meaningful action, take responsibility on like which things do we need to improve this quarter, this week, today, and what things will you take accountability and start practicing those things? Like so critical. We're always optimizing things, but you want to do it in harmony. You don't want to stress yourself out about like, I gotta get this better, and I don't know how I'm gonna do it. You gotta give yourself grace in that process to evolve, even if that is your even if that is your something new that you're doing, and you're a novice at it, and you're gonna know that you're gonna be a novice stepping into it. Like, you still are gonna want to optimize it and improve it over the long run. And I have these other ones here, which I just want to pause and just see if there's any questions coming in. Thank you, Jen, so much for sharing the links. It's so helpful because, we're always going to be having some of these new things and, opportunities to come in here. And I want to give you a little bit of even homework if you're open to it this week. You don't have to do it, but I want to encourage you to do it. I want you to think about your projects, your career, your personal, and your project goals. Think about all the things across your life right now. Personal goals, project goals, career goals. And I want you to list out, maybe in your notes, you could go to the notes section right now and list out, what are my personal, career, passion, and project goals? And then once you have these 4 things, and maybe you have 1 or 2, just try to get at least 1 to 3 things for each of these. Personal could be you're trying to get super duper fit. You're trying to take care of your wellness. You're trying to build better relationships. It could be a lot of different things. Your career is okay, what am I trying to advance in my career this year? I'm trying to get a promotion, trying to take on new responsibilities. I'm trying to learn new skills, whatever it could be. Passion, you want to travel, you want to tap it back into something creative that you just love to do, but you haven't made time to do it. Like a project or something along your life that you keep putting off, but it's something super important. Write that down. And then for projects, what are the 2 to 3 different projects that you have working this quarter, over January, February, March? What are you doing in this quarter to move the needle? So write out all those goals real quick, or take your time. You can do this as homework. And then what I want you to think about is for those specific line items that you have, so you have this, 8 or 9 different things. Then I want you to take those 8 or 9 different things and do another sub bullet, A, B, or C, of a needle moving milestone that when you finish this milestone, you're going to actually see that it's going to advance you closer to that goal or closer to that thing. So you have to get into this realm of what I call action planning. And Brennan has a battle board technique where he does this across the entire year. You can also Google battle board Brennan Burchard on YouTube and check this out. But the idea is that when you're going through and trying to measure what matters and create design impact and get in here and build and create incredible systems of growth in GrowthDay, you still got to get really good at breaking things down. You can take all these things, put them in your plan, or go to the profile and go to the growth profile and create these and break them down into milestones. So I'm going to share my screen real quick and show you how to do that inside of the growth profile. Yeah, let's go. Okay, here we go. I'm going to go to my profile. So to get to your profile, you can click on your face in the top right avatar of the app. Click profile. And once you're in the profile, and you could follow along with me too if you're in the app. And what you can do is come down and I wrote a test goal a couple weeks ago. Let me just delete it. Yes, delete this goal. And what I want you to do is I want you to write maybe what this goal is. So if this is get into the best shape of my life in Q1, workout every day. That actually is the goal. So get in the best shape of my life, Q1. All right. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tap into this goal. Sorry, there's a little delay because I'm streaming with you and I'm also sharing my screen. So when you get into that goal, you can go in and tap the 00 that you have in here. It's going to open up a sidebar And now what I'm going to do in this sidebar is I need to pick a date. So I said Q1, right? So that would be the end of March. So I'm going to save. So I have my March 31st. And then once this saves, I'm going to go to focus areas. And I'm going to pick that this is along the lines for me with movement, nutrition, and energy. I think these three things are going to really help me with this specific goal. I'm going to confirm that. Then I'm going to come over and I might have certain plans that I've already made that kind of connect with this specific action. So if I do have that, I could come over just so I can connect the dots a little bit. Like I can come in and look at my plans that I have and see like, okay, well, what do I need to do? And maybe like this finding strength was one. Maybe another one was, next level UX2. Like you can pretty much pick the plans that you had and just go in through those and confirm them. This is just a way to make sure that you're connecting the dots, because goals are not plans. Plans are not goals, right? Goals are the big rocks and things that you want to achieve, the things that you want to push forward to. Plans are how you're going to get there. So what do we need to do? We might need to give this goal a little description, like I plan to get into the best shape of my life and feel incredible doing it. You can add whatever it is that feels good to you. Then we have the ability to create some of these milestones. So a milestone might be, for me, is that I want to integrate a wellness plan into my daily, weekly, and monthly rituals. So this means I'm gonna make sure that I'm doing this every single day. I can put a due date on this, but you can also do all this inside the plan tool as well. If you wanted to just manage these inside of your plan, that's completely fine. I can also say, okay, well, I want to integrate a wellness plan. I also want to consistently show up at the time at, let's see, it's at between 5 and 9 a.m. is when I do workout. 5, 9 a.m. and get it done. So I have these milestones. So I want you to actually go and not only say what it is that you want to do, like get in the best shape of your life, but you also can create little milestones of things that you're going to do that are going to help enforce and help encourage and help motivate you to actually do it. And then once you complete these things, right, you can come back in and you can come in and check these things off the list. And you can see that it shows up right here in the plan. I have it all linked up and I can just build on that. And I want to encourage you to write some goals for the quarter, get in there and reconnect on those things. I think that's just really just going to be a good way to use the app for it, but also you can use the plan or the profile to be able to keep those things in check, measure them. Sweet. Yeah, oftentimes, like you can use the plan for pretty much anything, right? You can put in your systems in there. You can use the profile for that as well. It's just really up to you on how you want to get the most out of the tool. Lovely. Okay, so we have 7 minutes left. What we can do now is we can open it up for questions. Any other further questions? I don't have any other things that I want to walk through today. I walked through, just as a recap really quick, we talked about design impact. We talked about benchmarking. So you learned a little bit about my world. Benchmarking, continuous learning, design and life awareness. And I'll put those back in the chat too for you. Another chat. Here we go. So I put them in the chat for you. We talked about these three things. We also went through, we talked about the life scores. We talked about the journal. We talked about plan. We talked about the courses and the growth groups, the new growth groups that you're going to get. So please feel free to go in there and check those things out and let us know what you think. I'd love to hear your feedback specifically around growth groups. And if you go in and start hosting your own growth groups, I would love to hear and see the types of topics that you're going to be discussing in those. And again, you got 10 agenda templates that you can use to help you actually go and do that. And then when you share a growth group, anybody can join a growth group. It's free to join a growth group. That might also be something that you might not be aware of. However, if you want to join a growth group, then you have to have at least an account with GrowthDay. Like, you have to have an account so we can authenticate you, make sure you are who you are, and then you come into the product and you can actually experience a growth group. So if you share a growth group like on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on Instagram, or Instagram, you'd have to literally put in the hard code, the URL, because you can't share those links. Then you can get people back into the product and they can experience growth groups together. I'm going to also be still hosting growth groups for the next 4 weeks, and then I'm going to take I'll still be hosting on Thursdays, but we're getting ready for another adventure. We're going to be traveling again, and you'll see my new studio will change. Actually, it'll be in the RV studio, which is pretty cool. It's like a studio on wheels, and you'll see that in the next couple of weeks, which will be a lot of fun. And here, let me come back to you. And is there any other questions, like things that you've just been thinking about GrowthDay and they've been on the tip of your tongue, but you haven't asked them yet? I would love to just be here for you as a support to just make sure that you're getting your questions answered. Yeah, my pleasure. Lots of really good stuff coming. And let's see here, what else is going on? Just take your time, ask any questions. I'm going to take a sip of water while you think about it. Oh yeah, Teresa asked. Yes, I have. So I did have oral surgery, and literally had a tooth that just never came down, and it got removed, and I'm good. It was a tough week, though. I actually tell you, I don't envy anybody that has to go through an oral surgery in their mouth, and it's not fun. But it also makes you appreciate so many of the little things, right? Just eating, chewing, and taking care of your mouth. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, Cheryl, thank you so much for saying that. Thank you for being here. And Cheryl, I would like, if you want to post that, like post any of your comments, and if any ahas, comments, or things that you got out of this growth group, if you can post it in the community, just so other strivers that come into the platform can see how it's helping other people. I just want more people to get value from these sessions, but I also just want to be a support system for you. I tell you what, like, there's so many things that you can do inside the tool, but sometimes you just need a little bit of a nudge to see how might you be able to get the most out of it, right? There's lots of pillars here, but the thing is, like, we need these pillars to really form the growth loop. The tool wouldn't be the same without the journal. The tool wouldn't be the same without the life scores. The tool wouldn't be the same without your plan and the social engagement from challenges, and the social engagement from the social learning of growth groups, or the social learning side of courses with comments and note taking. All these things, we put so much research and just like energy into what it's going to take to really help you all build the world's best growth system for yourself. And I think GrowthDay has done a really good, really incredible job of pulling it all together. We obviously have so far to go. We are like a toddler, 2 years in, and we have so much room for advancement, so much room for growth. I just want to thank you all for being here and supporting the GrowthDay app, but also thanks, Jen, for helping share the information around the links and the resources. Thanks for helping facilitate. Thanks, Cheryl, Leda, Teresa, Marlene, for participating and learning and growing. And it's great. So definitely tap into the community, keep asking your questions, and we'll just make this happen. It's really good stuff. We have a couple minutes left, so I'm just going to hang tight. If there's more questions that come up, I'll keep reading the chat. But other than that, have an amazing rest of your day and have an amazing weekend. And we'll definitely see you when we see you. But I'm just going to keep looking at the chat, see what's going on here, and let's just see what else we got going on. Let's go. Yeah, we got to do the work. We got to put in the time. We got to really understand our systems. We got to really understand what it is we want. so that we can point where we need to go. And oh my gosh, yeah, so good. Such good energy today. And yeah, we got a minute and 44 seconds left. So please feel free to write your ahas, your thoughts, questions inside of the community. Or again, you can always reach out to me on the community and DM me there, or find me on social media. I'm at Drew Bridewell on Instagram, and I'm at A Bridewell on LinkedIn. Constantly posting things just to support, get people back into this product, but also just help them learn the power of the growth systems and the power of GrowthDay. So feel free to tap in any of that information, and we'll be sure to get you support. All right, y'all. Well, have a beautiful rest of your day, and we'll see you in the next one.